Welcome to the West Country Wanderings and welcome to Wiltshire. We're in the beautiful Cotswold town of Corsham. I'll tell you some more. This behind me there is the church of St Bartholomew and we're right next to Corsham Court here, which we'll have a look at shortly. Now moved around from the side of St Bartholomew's church here at Corsham, and I've entered Corsham Park because it's a nice quiet place to wander and to enjoy. And while I'm doing that, I'll tell you a little bit about the town. Now, I arrived here by public transport today, and what I did was I caught the train to Swindon from where I live in Gloucestershire and then went on to the town of Chippenham, where there is a frequent bus service to this town here in the Cotswolds. We're actually in the extreme far southwestern corner of the Cotswold area of outstanding natural beauty. So there's actually a bus from Chippenham every 30 minutes or so, which takes you right here. We'll also notice though that they do have free parking, so if you do want to come by car, you don't need to pay. I think it's for 2 hours, so I need more time than that today to do a full photography and vlog type tour around here. But this is very, very pleasant here. We're actually going to be walking down to Corsham Lake. So where exactly is Corsham? Well, it's about 4 miles to the southwest of the Wiltshire town of Chippenham, which is a major market town in the county of Wiltshire here. We're about 25 miles southwest of the larger town of Swindon and about 20 miles or so from the city of Bath, maybe a little bit less than that, and probably about 26 miles from the larger city of Bristol. So that's kind of where we are. So we're in the northwestern part-ish, not full north, but northwestern part of the county of Wiltshire, which actually is a large, big county. I must admit, I've only covered parts of Wiltshire here on West Country Wanderings. There's still loads and loads I want to do because I want to cover more of the North Wiltshire Downs. We've only touched on that, I think, once during a vlog. And the other one, the West Wiltshire Downs as well. We've only touched on that once as well. So hopefully we'll be able to do some more Wiltshire content as we go on. But here we are today in Corsham, and I didn't know a great deal about it. So I dug out my phone and had a quick Google so I could learn, because it strikes you as being a very wealthy town. And I wanted to know how it got its wealth. Well, I'll tell you all about it. Now, when I got off the bus, and incidentally the buses drop you a little way out, I can't remember the name of the road, so you had to walk in because it's been pedestrianised well for quite some time, so the buses can't come in to the town centre itself. The first thing that I saw when I was walking along the road into the town centre were peacocks. In actual fact, there were a couple of peacocks on the top of a taxi, a car, and it was quite an unbelievable sight. And then later on I saw another one just in somebody's porch by their front door there, and it was just there nonchalant, and it was just like an everyday occurrence, which it is. And the peacocks actually come here from Corsham Court, just on the edge of the town. And of course this the park, Corsham Park, that I'm walking through now, that belongs to the Meuthen family, M-E-U-T-H-E-N. It's got connections back to the 18th century when the MP for this area was given it. Not sure how that came about, how do you get given it, but it is. And they still, the Meuthen family, still own Corsham Court, and it is open. We'll talk some more about that in a bit. But very, very interesting town. There are some larger housing estates around the outside, but the town centre itself is pretty much unspoilt, and it's been used many, many times for filming. Now, Corsham Court is actually alongside the Church of St Bartholomew's here in Corsham, and it is open to the public on certain days. Today being one of them. It's actually open this afternoon. It does cost £12 to go in. It's not that puts me off, it's the fact I don't know whether you can do photography in and around the court itself, so I'm not sure about that. So I probably won't go in it for that reason. It's privately owned, it's not a National Trust or anything, but it does have a very, very good painting collection, and it's because of that I think they probably won't want people going around with cameras etc looking at their all their paintings. So I've decided not to do it for that reason, but I will put the details of Corsham Court if you want to come and visit yourself in the description of today's video. Now, right ahead of me is a large lake here at Corsham Park. Now, the park itself is actually free to enter. You don't need to pay to go into the court to come into the park, because there are a number of rights of way and public footpaths that crisscross over it, so you get a good view of the lake, and we're walking towards the lake now. So we're now looking at the back, or possibly the front of Corsham Court. There is what's known as a ha-ha down there, because it means that the sheep that are grazing in Corsham Park can't stray into their garden and eat all their flowers and everything in the garden. But yeah, that's Corsham Court. I'll see if I can get some more shots of it as we walk around to the park. So Corsham Court was once the royal manor to Saxon kings, but the present building was actually designed by, you guessed it, Capability Brown, who designed lots of Park London houses. So the original building from Saxon time is no longer there, but you see this building here, which was largely recreated in the middle of the 18th century. There's some older parts dating back to the 14th century. Now, previously, the building that was previously here was owned by two of Henry VIII's wives, Catherine of Aragon and Catherine Parr. Yes, both of the Catherines of the King Henry VIII, the two of his 6 wives were here because it had connections to the royal family. But it passed out of the royal family the latter part of the Elizabethan age. So there's Corsham Park Lake. I'm not sure if that was one of Capability Brown's designs or not on the wider park here, but makes an attractive piece of shining silver across the green landscape. The wealth of the town of Corsham grew up initially from agriculture. This is a heart of high agricultural land in this part of western half of Wiltshire, not like the barren lands you see around Salisbury Plain, which of course is military, but we'll come on to military in a moment. It then gained more wealth from the wool trade, because being at the end of the Cotswolds, yes, you guessed it, we've seen lots of sheep here. Sheep mean wool, and there was lots of tradespeople there. In fact, the Flemish traders came here. In fact, there's the Flemish clothier's house also in the building. Let's see if I can find that in the town and insert a photo of it now. So that wealth is reflected right through the town here of Corsham in lots of different designs, but essentially that core, very classically looking Cotswold design with the Cotswold stone. The Cotswold stone, however, is interesting because not far away, just down the road, the A4 and the railway tracks, is the city of Bath, and that's also famous for its appearance through stone. And around Corsham were once many quarries. There may still be 1 or 2 that are open, which quarried Bath stone. Been taken out of there to build the many buildings in and around Bath, and indeed this area as well. So I'll break out from vlogging mode for a bit and give you a guided tour of Corsham using photographs and video clips that I took earlier today. Hope you enjoy it. See you in a bit. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little tour of the town. Now, earlier on I was talking about the quarrying and the many quarries for Bath stone dotted around Corsham. And when they closed, they had a new lease of life. And it's probably quite a surprising lease of life because they were large, cavernous and stable because of the rock. The Ministry of Defence decided to use them at the start of the Cold War in the 1950s. And in fact, I remember when I was in the Royal Air Force at Portreath in Cornwall, someone came down from the MOD and there was like whispers around because they worked at Rudloe Manor. Now, Rudloe Manor is just a couple of miles outside of Corsham. I'm not sure if it's still got military connections or not, but it means that there are a lot of hundreds, if not thousands, of Ministry of Defence personnel and servicemen that live and work in and around the Corsham area, and often they're based inside those former limestone quarries. Amazing. Now, I've just looked it up about the lake. It wasn't actually built during Capability's time, although he'd planned for a lake. It came later when Sir Humphrey Repton managed it, and it was built after Capability Brown had done the work on the landscaping of the park. I've also just discovered something interesting about the court as well. Let's go and have a look at the front or the back of the court again. Now, the design of the court may give you a reminder of the vlog that I did before last, not last month's vlog, but the one before that, which was in Herefordshire in a village called Shobden. And in Shobden there is an amazing church which is called the Strawberry Hill Style. Remember, it's all white inside. Well, that, when it was rebuilt by Capability Brown in the 1700s, follows a similar style. Well, I'm going to head back into the town again now, just to have another wander and do some more video clips and photography, which I'll use at the end of the video. See if I can do any filming in the town. Depends how noisy and busy it is, really, but we'll see how we go. And I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the buildings that are in the town as well. So I've now left the park, Corsham, just come into the churchyard here at St Bartholomew's. And before we go into the town itself, I thought we'd have a look inside this magnificent looking church here. Not sure the age of the church. We'll see if we can go in and have a look and see there's some information on it. I'm sure there is inside. So we're now inside the church, and it looks like this tomb here is a family tomb, or family space should I say, for the Muthen family that live in Corsham Court. That looks like a marble tomb there. Amazing piece of craftsmanship. And you've got the barons as well. Paul Eichford, 4th Baron Muthen, Anthony Paul, 5th Baron Muthen, and Anthony John, the 6th Baron Muthen. Reading from the notes, it says that the south porch dates from the 15th century. It was originally designed to house a later staircase which gave access to a gallery in the south aisle. Just to the right of the entrance to the south porch is the font, which also dates from the 15th century. Something unusual about the stonework here. This was actually rubble from the original church from Saxon times. Just spotted that in the roof there as well. It says it's an amusing carved boss. Can't quite see what it is from this angle though, and that's looking right down the nave towards the altar. And above the central columns of the nave, you'll notice there is a small square. Well, it looks like a window, and indeed it was. It dates from Norman times, when it would have been a narrower church. Now looking back down the north aisle, parallel to the nave, and you'll see something there just underneath those sunflowers. And yes, it's a parish chest made up of 6 solid planks of oak wood. dates from the late 17th century, and the oak is actually 4 feet thick and held together by those large iron bands, as you can see running there. And looking through here is the Lady Chapel, which was built, or rebuilt should I say, in 1465 by one Thomas Torpennell, who lived in the nearby village of Neston. The entrance to the Lady Chapel has this unusual stone screen. Why unusual? Well, because usually screens like these, rood screens, are made of wood. So it is very odd but beautiful to see a stone one. And there's another magnificent example here which covers the entrance to the vestry. So this is the main entrance to Corsham Court. So you literally just go through there, and I think at the gate where you pay is just on the right hand side. That's a peacock there again. But yeah, beautiful and attractive there. Wonderful arch. Magnificent stone columns as well. We're now looking down Church Street. And at the end of Church Street, or facing us, is actually the Flemish Weaver pub. We'll have a closer look at that. But the buildings on the left here are actually owned by Bath Spa University. I saw some of their summer students there earlier on. They were having an impromptu buffet outside before making their way into the park. And we have a ruined wall on this side. It looks very castle-like, but I think that's the remains of the original Corsham Court before it was rebuilt by aforementioned Capability Brown. Now, Corsham's a place really you just want to stand back and just admire the magnificence of some of these buildings here and appreciate their architecture. It's not a town to be rushed, really. These houses are the ones on the other side of Church Lane. I love that colour there. This one here has an arch that looks like it was originally to a central yard for horse stables. In fact, you can see another arch there to the right of it, above that small window. The town hall, the bottom end of Church Street. And this has actually been used in Poldark a few times. Years on it dated 1784 and 1882. And the clock on it, you can't quite see the dials from this angle though. That's in commemoration even of Queen Victoria. I love those windows. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the town of Corsham in Wiltshire here on West Country Wanderings. I've certainly enjoyed my very first visit to this wonderful Cotswold town in the western half of the county of Wiltshire. I'm sure we'll be back to Wiltshire again in the not too distant future, but there's a lot to see here, so it's highly recommended a visit if you've never been. But I can't believe I've never been here before, even though I live in another part of the Cotswolds not far away. But it's been a really interesting day to have a tour around. Very, very interesting church. Well, a lot of history in that church. I particularly like the stone carvings where you've got the roofs there next to the chancel. That was well worth a visit. And the town itself has a great feel to it because it's pedestrianised in the high street. It's got a very relaxed air and a lot quieter that you come across than other areas. I'm making my way back to the bus stop now to catch my train from Chippenham. So hope to see you on the channel again very soon. All the best for now. Cheers. Goodbye.